Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to another edition of Let's Talk Marketing with Nathan A. Webster's podcast. I'm your host, Nathan Webster, and I'm excited to chop it up with you today. In today's episode, for episode 65, I got a special guest with me, and because we're going to be moving the social media needle with my girl, Lacey J. Faught. What's up?
Let's chop it up, man. Let's chop it up. I like that.
Woo! There is plenty to chop up, and you never stop slicing or dicing. So, what do you want to throw on the butcher board today?
So I am the owner of Spry Social Media Marketing, and I started Spry about 10 years ago. So into my 10 years of business, and I am very proud of that. That's mostly what I've done all of my career. Apparently, I can't work for anyone else but myself. So here I am.
That's why they say, we're 100% unemployable.
Yes, exactly. It's been long enough now. I don't think I could do anything else.
You said for how long?
10 years. I'm 10 and a half now. March, it'll be 11th year. So
how does that feel?
It feels really good. It feels really good that for basically my whole career, I've been able to run and grow this social media business up to 8 people. We're about to be hiring probably a couple more. So it's a blessing. And my staff is so happy and fulfilled in their work too, which is hard to come by when you're working in social media, which can be actually a pretty stressful position to be in. We've created a beautiful community where we're all so supportive and kind to each other and give each other. We say grace is our middle name at Spry. It's all about grace internally, living your own life and doing your work and getting it done and doing it well. But having some freedom,
Yes. And man, you hit so many different things, but I will not take us off the railroads. When it comes to, you say 10 plus years social media, and this is, social media is now the norm. It wasn't always like that. It didn't used to be popular in that regard. So how did you get into it? Why did you think this is for you? And the trajectory, and also for those I said, oh, you're hiring, where can I put my or submit my application or give you my resume?
So when I started the company, we were doing all forms of digital marketing. So we would do some website development, SEO, social media. And about 6 years ago or so, as social media started to become more and more and more prevalent, we kind of looked to each other as a team and we decided, all right, what do we do best? What can we cut out? And so, we sliced out website development right away. Then the next year we sliced out SEO. And so we just, honed in on what we thought as a group and as a team we were best suited for and we enjoyed doing the most. And that ended up being social media. And it keeps niching down further and further. We have this concept that we push very hard at Spry called social media for good, where we're only really now aligning with companies who are bringing more good into the world. If you come to me and you're a company that's just trying to sell shoes, I might send you elsewhere. Because that's great. If it supports you and your family and your team, that's awesome. But we want to go deeper. If you sell shoes, tell me what you're doing with X% of your profits to impact the community better. Tell me about what kind of things how you're sourcing your materials. Nice. So that's how we got to kind of niche down to where we're at. And our website is thinkspry.com. So you can find us there, and whenever we're hiring, we'll put positions there as well. Right now, what we're really looking to do to be able to expand is have a kind of a set of social media administrators. We've got strategists who are coming up with these overall strategies and campaigns. But now we need some more people who can actually do some of that execution work so that our strategists can handle more clients.
Wait. Pump the brakes.
Pump it.
Hold on. Are you telling me that social media is just not a one size fits all cookie cutter approach?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I was just for those that are listening, not watching. Lacey had to pause for a moment. She looked down and she says, he's about to get backhanded. For those that are not able to, like, she did it fast though, but I saw the thought.
You did catch it a little bit there. I'm normally a little better than that. No, we definitely are the kind of company who are going to deep dive into strategy in order to do social media well. One of the biggest kind of misconceptions that people have around social media is they think, especially because we've got this people who are business owners in managerial positions, maybe over 40 a lot of the times, right? And so they're not digital natives. And so when you don't understand something super well, you can sometimes downplay how complicated it might be. Right. So we do a lot of teaching. This is why we put out so much content too, is we want to have a vastly educated group of people who are our clients. Whether they are or aren't paying us for anything, everybody should understand how social media works. And if you don't understand solid social media strategy, then you're not going to move the needle. Okay. You're not going to be able to move the needle without some strategy. So, Nathan, what goes into good social media strategy? Do you know?
Oh, Jesus. It's definitely not half-baked ideas that is for vanity metrics.
Amen. Very true.
But to your point of what you were saying earlier, I loved how you were slicing and dicing like a fruit ninja when it came to, like, we have to eliminate websites, eliminate SEO, because social media is not to be taken lightly, and it is a lot of work.
Yeah, I mean, when we think about marketing as a whole, a lot of marketing channels are one-way communication, linear communication. Okay, you create a billboard, you create a commercial, you create an ad in a magazine. These are linear communication, one way. You're saying something, you're shouting it out, and people can ingest it, but they have no way to communicate back to you.
Correct. Yes.
Social media, on the other hand, is a conversation. It's transactional communication. So when we are developing a good social media strategy, we have to really understand who is going to be on both ends of this communication that's happening. So we start and we focus very hard on what your own brand tone and brand voice is going to sound like on social. And man, you should see us, the strategists at Spry, challenge business owners when we're like, so tell us your core values. And they might have like 3 or 4 words. And I'm like, okay, so describe for me how that actually works out when you're having a customer, or where you're having a conversation with your customer, when you're having a conversation internally with employees. Do those core values actually drip down into your activity? Because if they don't, then what we say on social media isn't going to be what people experience when they actually touch your company. So we have to push very hard to develop what that actual brand tone and brand voice is like.
Well, and let's just keep it real. And I'm just going to keep it real just for what it is.
It's what you do.
Yes. Social media has provided in so many other ways, but we're going to just keep it in business because there's so many other things we could talk about. But in business, it does provide that clear transparency. And it's not just even a bird's eye view or, peering in the window. You get to see the back end of everything. And as I tell my own clients, I'm like, yes, a website is important just as much as social media, but the website is static. People are going to learn what you want to tell them. And it's just basically a great business plan on display, but they can't interact with it besides maybe putting in an email. But your social media is your personality. It's your character. People get to see the highs and the lows, not so much the lows because people don't know how to put that in there, but it's not to be ignored, because if you don't have social media, that's a huge red flag. And when you're also not being authentic in operations, well, anyways, this is about you talking. Go ahead.
Hey, I like listening to you talk. You see me nodding along here.
Well, it's one of those things that I think people believe that we're going to solve this problem in 30 minutes. And it's like, no, you're absolutely right. The strategists have to say, what are the things you are living out in your business? Because if not, and of course, those owners and key leaders want to push back, but it's like, wait, no, because I'm going to be the one in the middle of the night answering someone who now wants to be upset, hijack your, a post and terrorize you. That's now my job. And I don't have the bandwidth for it. I don't have the capacity for it. I don't have the interest in it. Unless it's something specific, like you were saying, for good. So
let's
key.
Let's bring it back to this and moving the needle, right? If somebody tries to say, I've had conversations with business owners when we're having this initial conversation, which is about brand tone of voice, and we haven't quite gotten to target demographics or marketing personas yet, but we'll get there. So when I'm talking to business owners or leaders within the business about what their brand tone is, let's say I was meeting with a company who has been around 60 years, and they're in a downtown building that's really kind of classic and old, but classic. And I'm talking to them about what they're not. And I'm like, I would say a word that we definitely wouldn't use with you is modern. This isn't a modern style of business. And the guy goes, well, does modern sell? And I'm like, okay. All right, we need to have a little different conversation here. This is not about what sells, because people are smart. And when you're on social media, they can sniff out the cracks in your authenticity so fast. We started working for a large software company who hadn't had a strategic social media plan in place for a long time. And we came in and started to develop something. And the first few posts, all of a sudden, they hadn't been posting for a long time, right? These first few posts, all the reaction we were getting was people commenting saying, I'm having a really hard time getting a hold of customer service. Can you help me? And it's like, okay, I see what we're getting into. You haven't been on social media because you're not taking care of your customers properly. And it's too scary to be on social media because you actually have to talk to your customers now. So that's some of the vulnerabilities that if you aren't authentic and you're not true to your brand voice, you will never be able to move the needle. It's just not possible.
I told that to my on a side story, but related. When I told my customers, do not delete reviews, right? That is all part of the journey, and that's all part of your brand. But the problem was, like you were saying, they didn't want to fix the operational issues, and they still having major issues, 1-star reviews. But I'm like, you can't expect to, I won't say it fully, but put chocolate on a pile of cow manure and call it a cupcake.
Yeah. I love when we can get bodily fluids into the conversation.
It's not a cupcake just because you put chocolate on it. So I to your point, I 100% agree. When you're moving that social media dial, the needle, if you want it to move, you do need to be authentic in your, and this is not just operationally for your external, but internal as well.
Absolutely. So that's one side of the conversation, right? If social media is transactional communication, then one side is your voice and the other side is your customer's voice. So that's something that we have to understand very well too, in order to create content that resonates with that audience. So whenever we're starting with a new client or doing an audit, we will do these practices where we develop the brand tone, but then we develop some very specific marketing personas. And it's so fun. It's so fun to develop marketing personas, which basically is, for those of you who don't know, like your ideal customer. I will often start that conversation by asking, who is a customer that you have that you wish you had 100 more of?
That's good.
Base it off of a real person. And then, I mean, we actually go as far. Some people have a hard time creatively just getting their self in imagination land. But because we'll make them come up with a name for this person, what their family situation is like. Are they married? Are they divorced? Do they have children? How old are their children? How much money are they making? Where do they live? And then we go even, more detailed into their personality. What are they experiencing in their daily life? When are they using social media? Is it when they're in bed before they go to sleep? Is it in the morning on the train? Is it when they're, taking their afternoon cupcake break? How do I'm trying not to. And then down to what are their fears? What are their motivations for engaging with our brand? And what are their hesitations for engaging with our brand? And then we dial it all in. We find a photo of what this person might look like. And then we've got a one sheet where we can reference this persona by name. And so when we're writing content, we can say, okay, this is going to work really well for JT. We inside at Spry, we have a persona that we call JT. And he's a forward-thinking business owner who he's got a little bit of ego, because he wants to build this community of people who care about what he cares about. But he's kind, compassionate. He's an outdoorsman. He's got a beard. He really likes craft beer. Now JT is not to be confused with TJ, who we do not want anything to do with. TJ comes into a meeting asking us about what growth hacking techniques we have. And we have to tell TJ right away, listen, our focus at Spry is community building on social media. We have to get people to make sure that they're seeing their social media communities as human beings and not just numbers. When you focus on building an actual community of people on social media who know, like, and trust your brand, the leads come. When you focus on them as people. How do you support these people? How do you entertain these people? How do you love on these people? If you do it that way, the leads come. I just wish I wish all the TJs in the world, I could sit down and I could just love on them. Maybe they need a little more love. I don't know the answer for these TJs, but it is what it is. Sorry, I get a little heated on that one.
Yeah, don't tone it down, girl. You good. You good. It was, you had me at persona. At NW, we call it avatars. Same thing, and I had one client who didn't want to go that deep. I'm like, okay, fine, because I'm not trying to push. Marketing for us is you got to be the 2 C's: confident and comfortable with moving forward. A lot of vulnerabilities you got to lay on the table. We got to massage it, like you said, the ego piece, right?
Yes.
Well, when it came time to then actually apply what they didn't want to do, they were like, oh, and this was doing an ad. Like, we have to go into detail about filling out this ad out. Yes. So we can't. So you're telling me we have to focus on one avatar, one persona? I was like, that's the only way you could do this ad. And they were like, oh man, you were right. And they were like, that pained me to say it. And we're friends, but that client immediately stopped that trajectory of, I don't have to listen to you in regards to, I'm going to do it my way. There is a way to doing it. So for those that are listening to what just Lacey said in regards to sitting down with the persona, talking about it, don't try to do that on your own if you don't know what you're doing. That will cause so much problems for you.
Now, to kind of bring it back to where is this needle even pointing for social media, right? If we're trying to
break it down.
if we're trying to move the needle for social media, and I'm telling you not to focus so much on leads and that kind of thing. So then what are we supposed to focus on? So for us, the main statistics that we really try to focus on is consistent community size growth. So you come to us with 100 followers on Instagram. I want to see that growing every month. I want to see us to 120, 140, 160, 180, with the idea in mind that these are real people that are plugging into your content. Okay. We can say we've gone up by 20 followers, but what we mean is there are 20 more people who are checking out your content on your platforms. Okay. So consistent community size growth. The second one that we focus a lot on is just engagement rates. Okay. So what's the average engagements, the average number of engagements that we got on content in this month versus this month? You were getting, a lot of people will come to us. They may even have 1,000 followers and they're getting 6 likes per post. Wow. We're not creating content that's engaging people enough. So can we move that up to 10 likes, 20 likes, 20 likes plus 5 comments? And that can sometimes turn into, we've got one client who's it's gold every time. It's not even fair. They're getting like 350 likes per post, 40 comments. And those are real conversations. And that's the difference, right? There's not 92,000 shares, but every time somebody comments, we go in, we respond to that comment. Do we just say thank you? No, we ask a question back to them. Okay. We might do a post like, we've got one coming out for Spry next week. That's like, what's your favorite social media platform? Ready, go. That's the post content. Somebody's going to say Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Our job, come in and say, wow, Facebook's a really common answer. What do you like most about it? Now we've got conversation rolling. And that's the highlight of moving the needle, actually having real conversations with people and building a relationship with your brand.
Uh-oh, you said the R word. You said the R word that we say in our conversations all the time. It's not about the transaction, it's about the relationship. And I do believe there's a lot of people out there that don't understand that you can create relationships that, let's just keep it real, it doesn't always lead to a customer. It just doesn't. But that doesn't mean that they won't support you. They doesn't mean that they won't share your content to where it's seen from a potential hot lead that will become a customer. But it's not always about that transaction, as you were saying earlier. It's about that relationship. So thank you. Oh my God, for saying that.
It actually, I've never thought of it exactly this way, but as I hear you talking it back to me, like I said, when we started out, we started out in SEO. So that was my first specialty, was like thinking of search engine optimization. Okay. So how do we build blog posts and get backlinks that get us to show up higher in the search engines? But what you're saying is it's not about every one of these comment conversations turning into a transaction. It's about building this online reputation that through consistency allows you to become what is thought of in the human search engine as the go-to place for XYZ. I had a conversation with a lead this week who I was talking to them, and they've got kind of like this lawyer collective that's trying to serve middle-class people with lower cost legal help. And I said back to them, oh, this is great. Your concept fits in line with my overall theme of social media for good. And he's like, I know. I'm like, what do you mean, where do you hear about us? He's like, well, somebody gave me your website and I went, looked through your website and I watched every one of your social media for good podcasts. And I knew you were the ones to help us.
Wow.
And I'm like, yeah.
That's how and this is why I do what I do, is not by chance, it's by design.
Yes. So if you want to move your social media needle forward, your job is to be intentional about your strategy, by thinking about your own brand tone of voice, having authenticity, transparency, by focusing on how to serve your customer or your community member, if you're thinking about it from a social media standpoint, and really focusing on the truth that everyone who you're reaching on social media is an actual person, focusing much more on their humanity than on what metrics you're trying to hit, because the metrics come when you are authentic and when you are trying to actually serve people.
With that, that's the best way to go out, is to the serving piece. You like spoke to my heart on that one. So for those that want to know more about you, you already said the website is thinkspry.com. I know you have other channels, but before you give out that information for folks to get in contact with you, how would they know you can help them?
If they want to be building more of an online community, and want to actually connect with people, especially if they've got a cause. If it doesn't mean you have to be a nonprofit, it means if you are a business that has vision and a vision of serving people, then and you need help with your social media, it could look many different ways. We have a course, right? We've got like a $99 social media on purpose course that teaches you to build your strategy. We've got consulting relationships where people pay us to kind of come alongside them and just help them come up with strategy and implementation. Or we have managed services where we'll actually do it for them. So anybody who fits into any of those buckets, who has a vision and a mission that they want to move forward, and they know that they need to attract the right people, the right community members, the right customers in order to get that vision to move forward, then they would be a good fit for working with us.
Perfect. And so where can they find you at on the World Wide Web or the social, but the digital world?
Well, all of our main social channels, the handles are Think Spry. And we have our own podcast, the Spry Space podcast, and we have a Facebook group called the Spry Space Facebook group. I think it's just called Spry Space. That was my take on MySpace, but it's Spry Space.
Hey, who knows about MySpace now? Because it's no longer, well, I think they're still in business, but
very, very minimally.
Yes. So Spry Space, when they click on there, do they have to like fill out an application and be approved?
Yeah, there is just a couple of questions in there, like where did you hear about us, and what social media channels do you manage content on? And then we'll get in there and approve members. And within that group, there's troubleshooting. If somebody comes up against something, they're trying to do something on Instagram and they can't figure out where a feature went, they might post that kind of question. Is anybody else experiencing this today? What's going on with this? If somebody is trying to create a campaign and they're not sure which words to use for their campaign, they might drop that into kind of a hive mind it with other social media managers. And a lot of times we're also just pushing that social media for good concept within there, because it is such a hostile work environment, social media. And so anybody who's managing social media pages needs community to help them build good boundaries so that they can maintain their mental health and do their job well. And that's what that community serves as well.
Outstanding. Lacey, thank you so much for being on the show.
I love it. We chopped it up, didn't we?
Oh, we chopped it up like it was like what those hibachi grills.
Oh yeah, with the little onion tower and the steam coming out.
Yeah, just pop, 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 boom. So I definitely gotta have you on again. I think this is really important as we move more so to this digital world, like even with from school to social gatherings, networking. I'm just gonna be honest. I think this is, despite what's ever going on political stuff, whatever it is, we're still gonna be really making a social media channel the way we receive news, education, connect, and get things done. So we have not seen the loss of social media. If we thought social media was going away, especially with all those people that was going to say we're done with Facebook, it's just the beginning. More social networks are coming down the pipeline. So I think it's really important for us to have these conversations now. And I'm glad you're a thought leader in this space, because we definitely need a lot of social media for good.
Me too. I think so. Amen. Amen, Nathan.
Hey, for you out there listening, make sure you go check Lacey out. I want to thank our podcast sponsor, the Let's Connect conference that we are having October 7th and 8th. You can go to the bit.ly link and then use or type in Let's Connect conference to get your tickets. October 7th and 8th, we're going to do our best to still keep it open, doing all the COVID protocols, but go to bit.ly, Let's Connect conference. So if you are a BIPOC, woman, veteran business owner, leader, or student, or an ally that want to be sharpened and educated by your peers, and you just don't feel there is no other place for you, this is the spot. Get your tickets. We are now almost a month left. Oh my gosh, can't believe it. Almost 30 days. So, woo! Oh man. So with that, y'all, get y'all's tickets. Again, Lacey, thank you for being on the show. Everyone out there, make sure you rate, review, and share. And so until next time, I wish you nothing but the best. So dream big and Godspeed.